Welcome to Yoga for You, a channel tailored to helping you discover your very own unique yoga practice.
Hi, welcome to Yoga for You. My name is Rachel. Today I'm bringing you an arm balance tutorial on two poses that are quite impressive, could be challenging depending on you, but they're definitely fun. They are elephant trunk pose and 8-angle pose. You definitely want to be warmed up before this, in the shoulders a little bit throughout the body, but I will be going over some wrist warm-ups as well as the hips, and then we're going straight into it. So let's get started. So we're going to begin getting into a squat. We're just going to fire it up super quick. So if you know Malasana, yogic squat, toes are going to be pointed out, feet are wide, dropping those hips on down. Now if this is too intense for you, have no fear. If you have a block or a nice big book, place it underneath your bum. Make it a little less intense for your hips. But while we do that, we're going to distract ourselves with what I call fire hands. Arms are going to come up into the air. Spread your fingers as wide as you possibly can. Squeeze your knuckles super duper tight. Open and close. And you'll notice this might be a little confusing. Might feel a little awkward for you if you've never done this before, but we're starting to get some heat throughout the wrist, throughout the forearm, and those palms, so we can be nice and active and strong. Arm balance is so much more than strength throughout the body. It matters in the hands, it matters in the wrists as well. So keep it going a little faster with the hands. You might start to feel that fire already. Keep going. Breathe through it. Maybe smile. It's all good. It's gonna be great. Keep going. Fast as you can, keep going. And slowly release those hands on down. You can remove your block. Go ahead, make your way to your hands and knees, tabletop position. You might feel a little achy, a little pump in your forearms. If that's the case, you can give them a little massage, really gentle, maybe roll the wrists out, whatever feels good for you. Then make your way again to that tabletop position if you're not already there. Fingers spread wide, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, keeping the shape, belly button into the spine. Start to shift your weight forward, shoulders past the wrists, and then shift them on behind. Keep this motion going, only going as far as works for you. You are the only one that truly knows your own threshold of pain or tolerance here. So we don't want to push it all the way to the edge. We just want to feel that little bit of tension. Slowing that back down, just a couple more. Wrists are going to turn in, fingers point out, and we're going to make the same motion, but first side to side. Again, going as far as works for you. Make sure you're pressing through all parts of the hands, even those thumbs. If you like, play with your range of motion, maybe make circles going all the way around a couple times. And then of course, switching directions. Notice if you start to hold your breath, come back to it. Even though we didn't set a specific breath for this, it always matters, because if we're not breathing, we're not really doing any yoga. Start to make your way back to center. Last little one, fingers are going to point back. Now depending on you, how often you work with your hands, you might want to do one wrist at a time, or if you're feeling frisky, you can do both wrists at the same time. Now it all depends on you. You can stay shoulders over wrists. If that's enough, great, stay there. If you're like me, I do this about every day, so I'm pretty used to it by now. I do this through every single practice I take. It's very important to have nice, healthy wrists. They keep us up here, especially, if you take down dog a lot, all that good stuff. So if you want, sit back a little more, stretch out through the wrists, the palms, the fingers, take one big breath. And slow as you can. Go ahead and flip those palms, sit back onto those heels. And then you're going to bring the back of the hands into one another, decompression. Just slowly rotating those wrists forward and back, forward and back. Might feel really nice, little massage. And if that's not enough, you want to get a little bit deeper, you can chicken wing it. Hands are on the outsides of the side ribs. All right, once you're all good, roll it out, give it a shake, whatever feels good for you. And then let's get into some hip stuff here before we get into the actual poses. Last little bit. So we want to sit nice and tall, legs are extended out in front of us. I want you to grab your left knee, pull it on in. Hand grabs the shin, right hand grabs that foot. Sit nice and tall, flex those right toes to the face. You're going to start to open up this leg. I call this the bus driver, because I know back in the day, they used to have buses and their steering wheel would have a stick on them. So imagine just driving your bus along, no big deal. Opening up through that hip, keep breathing. Just a couple more times. And then you're gonna slow that down. You're gonna start to cradle your baby. So taking that foot maybe inside your elbow. If it doesn't make it there, just hold it with the hand. Then maybe other side elbow grabs the other side of the knee. See your little baby here, head's here, little feet here, perfect. Sit nice and tall. Again, check on that right leg, find some action there. And gently rock your baby side to side. You're gonna notice some sensation throughout the hip. A little bit of opening, keep breathing. Nice and calm for your baby. And then slowing that back down, your baby's asleep now. Gently place that baby down. Grab front of the ankle, place that foot next to your hip. Nice little quad stretch here. You have two options. You can sit tall here or take a fold over that leg, hinging at those hips. Don't worry about grabbing those toes. You wanna feel this openness here through the hips as well as those hamstrings. Now, if this feels a little awkward for you, feel free to put a blanket underneath your right booty cheek. That might even out your hips a little bit more. Then eventually use an inhale to rise, sit nice and tall. Gently grab the front of that ankle, bring that leg out in front. You might notice you grew about ½ an inch or an inch or so. So if you wanna get taller for a night out, these are perfect for that. Then other side, right knee bends, hand grabs the shin, left hand grabs that foot, sit tall, flex the left toes, and find your bus driver again, making those circles round and round. Knee is pulled towards that armpit. And again, taking one more, finding your baby here. Again, cradling that leg on in, hand to hand, or elbow crease to elbow crease, sit tall, and rocking that baby side to side. Slowing that rock down, gently grab the front of that ankle, place that right foot next to the hip. Again, either just sitting here nice and tall or take that dive on down over that leg. Still pulling the left toes towards the face. Start to rise on up as you breathe in. Gently cradle that ankle, bring it on out in front of you. Now, hopefully, your legs are nice and even. Then let's get into elephant trunk pose. This is one of my most favorite arm balance poses here. And so that opening through the hips is great, opening through the wrists, we're all set and raring to go. You're gonna sit out long, legs out in front of you. We're gonna bend that right knee, bring it on in, just like we did before to warm up. Your hand grabs that shin, your left hand grabs that foot. You're gonna take your right arm, bring it underneath the leg like strapping on a backpack. Place that leg on top of your shoulder. If it's a little lower, it's definitely gonna be harder. So doing your best to get it nice and high. Now flex your right toes like you're trying to actively pull that knee back behind you. Keeping that tension, place your right hand down next to your hip and squeeze that elbow into the thigh while flexing those toes, actively pulling that knee behind you. Keeping that tension, left hand will ground opposite side of that right hand. Take a big breath in and exhale. Maybe you lift your bum, maybe you lift your leg. Make it pretty, point the toes, or keep that flexion, whatever works for you. Holding here, keep pressing, tuck the belly button into the spine. Maybe you can look down a little towards the leg and slowly lower. Release your backpack, bring that leg on down, and of course, do both sides. So again, grabbing that leg, strap on your backpack over that shoulder, nice and high. Left hand grounds down. Again, find that squeeze of the elbow. Left foot's flexed. Elbow pulls in. Sorry, what is this? Knee. Knee pulls in, back behind you. Active, active, active. Ground those hands, big inhale. Exhale, lift that bum. Maybe the leg comes up with it.
Actively press through the hands, pressing on up. Nice and strong, you got it. Wherever you are, breathe. And slowly lower. Not so bad, right? All right, now those two tie together to get into our 8-angle pose. They're perfect, so eventually if you want to flow into them, you can add them into your practice anytime you like, whether you're in a public class or just at home playing around. So setting back up into that elephant trunk pose, find yourself up in it. Again, find your backpack, find your squeeze as you ground the hands. You're gonna lift on up, and in order to find your 8-angle, you're gonna cross the ankles, hook your feet, and you're gonna lean forward, kick your legs out to the side. They're gonna squeeze your right arm, leaning your heart over your mat. Chaturanga elbows, so meaning elbows are about 90 degrees. Maybe look to the feet, maybe look forward, and release. And of course, we have two sides. We don't do one side might be a little off. And of course, one side's gonna be a little easier than the other. So take your time. Of course, you could push pause. No rush, no stress. Find your backpack. Find your elephant trunk pose. Lift. If you find that lift, maybe cross those ankles. Woo. Hook those feet. Send those legs out to the left as you melt your heart over that mat. Chaturanga elbows. And right back down. No biggie, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Again, some decompression here if that was a lot for your wrists. Back of the hands into the side ribs, or back of the hands into one another. Wherever you end up, take your time, breathe, slow it down. Thank you for joining me today with our arm balance. Tag me, tag us if you get into that pose. I'm so proud of you guys for even just trying. Remember, your effort matters no matter how you got into it. Thank you so much. Namaste.